Welcome to the Weekly Digest, where we highlight the work of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. Organized by the 10 Forward Civil Society Group, the Regional Information Fair and Town Hall meeting provided Londoners with the opportunity to receive valuable information regarding ongoing projects and the government's initiatives. Public Works Minister Bishop Juan Edgel emphasized the importance of youth involvement in the agriculture sector and said that the government is committed to fostering job creation in Region 10.
The government was bold and brave enough to put in place legal and administrative framework to ensure job creation for our people, adults, and our young people who are emerging, coming out of school, to get involved in something that is meaningful, economically viable, and it is good for the development of our country.
The Regional Information Fair and Town Hall meeting featured presentations from Senior Research Scientist at the Agriculture Ministry, David Fredericks, and Principal Legal Advisor of the Legal Affairs Ministry, Ronetta Sargent, who enlightened the gathering on the benefits and regulations of hemp cultivation. Men in Region 7 have welcomed the President's Men on a Mission initiative, which was launched in the region at Bartica on Saturday last.
As we roll out the Region 7 Men on a Mission program, to make sure we do so in a way, in a manner, in a fashion that leaves no one, men or boys, feeling excluded from this process. Because this is not about being the most educated man or boy or young man. This is about being able to capture all our men, wherever they are, regardless of their educational level, regardless of their achievements in respect of wealth and other aspirations.
The minister noted that while there are shortcomings, working together, men can find solutions to society's ills. Minister McCoy also highlighted the need for men to protect and support women in society. The government of Guyana has expressed its continued commitment to improving the country's resilience to cybercrime and cyber attacks. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips highlighted this during the opening ceremony of the National Cyber Risk Assessment NCRA workshop on Wednesday morning at the Arthur Chung Conference Center, Liliendal.
It is our aim to develop a robust cybersecurity posture that will not only enable the protection of Guyana's people, digital assets, and digital reputation, but also improve our country's cyber resilience while fostering a culture of good online behavior.
The workshop is a collaboration between the UK government and the government of Guyana through the National Data Management Authority, NDMA. It aims to identify risks and vulnerabilities to cybersecurity in Guyana, illustrate means of improving the country's cyber resilience, and strengthening the country's cyber posture and critical national infrastructure, or CNI.
The government of Guyana welcomes the National Cyber Risk Assessment NCRA initiative as it will foster our current agenda to use ICT to catalyze the development in our critical national infrastructure organizations.
The Prime Minister stated that the government will continue to make and support investments that provide opportunities for all Guyanese, especially those organizations that make up the country's critical national infrastructure. 50 residents of Karia Wakenham and Leguan on November 14 successfully graduated from the National Training Project for Youth Empowerment delivered by the Board of Industrial Training. 14 males and 36 females received their certification from Labour Minister Joseph Hamilton, the Chief Executive Officer of BIT Richard Moan, and other officials. Minister Hamilton urged the graduates to continue to thrive and not settle for the knowledge they gained. This, Minister Hamilton said, ties in with the government's plan to improve the lives of citizens. They were told to utilize the Tourism Industry and Commerce Ministry's Small Business Bureau for guidance to keep their business thriving.
You have to do the rest. You have to now also see how you can have the chairman and Earl, how they can create conditions that you can approach the Small Business Bureau and the Ministry of Tourism and Trade and so. Because one of the greatest failures of persons who produce things is they have no knowledge how to market it.
These persons are now qualified in small engine repairs, garment construction, agro-processing, and information technology. Over 700 persons have completed the Board of Industrial Training programs in Region 6. During a 3-day visit to the county, Minister Hamilton attended graduation ceremonies in Upper Quarantine, Rose Hall, Port Morant, and Kanji, where he engaged with the graduates of various training programs. He commended the graduates for capitalizing on the opportunity to learn a new skill, highlighting that their hard work will facilitate continued development in Berbice.
By the time 2022 comes to an end, we would have trained 1,100 persons in the county of Berbice with new skills so that they can participate in the development of this country.
Minister Hamilton also noted that the programs are tailored to foster equity.
We have programs fashioned to ensure that in the evening, for the single mothers or the young boy under stress, we can fashion programs to ensure we can uplift them.
Participants in Region 6 were trained in commercial food preparation, motor vehicle repairs, cosmetology, welding and fabrication, garment construction, and agro-processing, among others. In keeping with its commitment to enhancing the quality of agriculture products, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa commissioned an agro-processing facility to the tune of $15 million on Saturday last at St. Ignatius, Region 9. Delivering remarks, Minister Mustafa highlighted that the factory is designed to increase the value-added production of traditional crops that are produced in the community.
As a government, we recognize also that the farmers, when they produce, we have to find market for their produce. That is why today GMC has been tasked with the task of finding the market. And today Guyana produce is in demand around the Caribbean. We have to be the processor. We have to be the manufacturer. And that is why as a government, we are making these facilities. And we are not doing it in Georgetown this year alone. At the end of 2022, we will commission almost 9 facilities like these across this country in different parts and rural areas.
Minister Mustafa emphasized that the facility will increase the socio-economic standing of the residents by generating employment opportunities for 40 additional persons. Minister Mustafa also disclosed that 2 additional processing facilities will be commissioned next week in the Deep South, Rupununi, Region 9. As the government remains committed to its promises to increase productivity and to ensure food security, farmers from several communities also received a number of farming machinery and other agricultural materials valued at $22 million in Stock Farm, St. Ignatius, Region 9. This forms part of the ministry's wider agricultural improvement support program. The Minister of Agriculture, during his remarks, highlighted that the government will continue funding all aspects of the agriculture sector while working to implement innovative measures to drive sustainable production.
All these things we are doing to ensure that people can continue to produce. But we want our country to be a producer. We want to produce food. We want to be center of production in this part of the hemisphere, especially the Caribbean. We are here to launch the Agriculture Improvement Program, and this program will be launched across this country.
Shade House supplies seeds, coconut seedlings, chemicals, a tractor, disc plow, roam plow, ATV, cassava sticks, and improved breeding materials for poultry, swine, and cattle are among the agricultural inputs the farmers received. The Men on Mission MOM initiative was launched in Lethem, Region 9 on Saturday in observance of International Men's Day. During the launch, Minister Mustafa highlighted that the initiative is a platform for conversation in every community about the importance of being responsible and respectable role models.
And we have to also, as men, we need to be reminded of the values of responsibility serving as role models and showing a collective commitment to shouldering a progressive system that supports Guyana development.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa, along with Chairman of the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority (NDIA), Lionel Wordsworth, on Tuesday afternoon conducted site visits at several pump stations at Cowan Street, Kingston, Georgetown, Liliendal, and Banks Thirst Park, Reinveld. The visit was prompted by the forecast from the Hydromet Department about excessive showers which are expected to continue in regions 1 to 5 and inland areas for the next 3 to 5 days. According to the Hydromet Department, some areas have experienced up to 4 inches of rainfall within a short period of time. Minister Mustafa noted that the visits to the pump stations were necessary to assess the pump stations. He expressed satisfaction that the pumps are operable to help drain the land.
I'm hoping that we can minimize the flooding in the city because with the heavy and excessive rainfall, the amount of water is very high. And as a result of that, our drainage system and pumping system is being placed at a high stress.
Minister Mustafa also appealed to residents to practice responsible garbage disposal since garbage in the drainage systems contribute to flooding due to blockage. The MOM initiative was officially launched in Mabaruma Region 1 on Saturday morning with the aim of addressing social and other issues affecting men and boys.
Our government has heard your unspoken cries for help, and today we are presenting you with a real and tangible opportunity to turn your lives around. I hope you will take it. Today is an opportunity to join the men on mission. For those who would like to play a greater role in your community, to sign on, to be role models, to be inspirational leaders. We need more from the communities to do and play this role.
Minister Kroll called on the men and boys across the region to join the program and make use of the opportunity to be better role models for the younger generation. For the first time, some 500 residents are now receiving potable water at Isunuru, Region 7, with the commissioning of the water supply system to the tune of $59 million on Tuesday. Residents were receiving water from the Mazaruni River and the practice of rainwater harvesting. Delivering remarks, Housing and Water Minister Colin Crowell told the residents that the government is steadfast in fulfilling its commitment to develop water systems and other amenities in hinterland communities.
Development of communities is paramount. But how do we do this? We do this in a programmed way. So, for example, we are speaking about ensuring that our children that are here today, that they must have a future that is even brighter than what we are living in now. And that brighter future means that they must be able, while living in Isunuru, to be able to access technology and development like somebody who is living on the coastline.
This forms part of the government's commitment to achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which speaks to providing water and sanitation for all. Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben joined in the UN World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims 2022 Road Walk in observance of Road Safety Month under the theme Safe Driving, Safe Life on Sunday last. In his address, Minister Ben reiterated his commitment to promoting road safety.
And I have the responsibility as minister to push forward the efforts we're making in respect of preventing, and it's mostly preventable, accidents, deaths, loss of life, of course, and injuries on our roads. And it requires a change in culture and behavior, bolstered by laws which we are now putting more and more in place.
The walk saw performances such as poetry and skits on the importance of road safety. In an effort to foster an improved healthcare system, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and the Pan American Health Organization on Tuesday, held Day 1 of the National Health Surveillance Symposium. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony emphasized the importance of having a detailed and concise compilation system to monitor trends in the health sector. He said the surveillance system has played a key role in the country's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Looking at the data over the last 24 hours, analyzing the data, and then coming up with a plan on how we would respond. And by doing that in a very proactive way, I think we were able to very early see emerging trends across the region and then respond appropriately.
He also noted that there is room for improvement in the reach and timeliness of the current surveillance system.
But while our system generally were built, first of all, around infectious diseases, the range of things that we now have to look at includes the chronic non-communicable diseases. And if we are going to get a better understanding of these chronic non-communicable diseases, then we have to put a stronger surveillance system in place.
PAHO country representative to Guyana, Dr. Louis Codina, stressed the need to expand the reach of health services countrywide to permanently monitor trends and devise solutions. Students of Swan Village, Linden Soesdijk Highway, will now be able to easily access primary education following the commissioning of the primary school in their community. Approximately $28.8 million was expended to construct the school. The school was commissioned by Education Minister Priya Manik-Chan, Local Government and Regional Development Minister Nigel Darmlal, and the Regional Democratic Council of Region 4. Delivering remarks at the ceremony, Minister Manik-Chan underscored that the government will continue to deliver on its promises to ensure that all citizens have access to high-quality education in Guyana. The Education Minister told the parents that the academic success of their children depends on the support received at home.
All of you here want the same thing we want for your children. You want your children to have a life of plenty. You want your children to have less struggles than you have had. You want your children to be comfortable. You want your children to live a life where they could thrive in this beautiful Guyana. I'm telling you, with us, your children can get that, and your children will get that. So let's stay the course. Let's stay the course. You have seen the development that happens. You have seen the development that is going on in your community. We must stay that course.
Meanwhile, Minister Darmlal highlighted that the government remains steadfast in its efforts to ensure that all communities are developed adequately, with schools and facilities with all of the amenities. The school was officially opened on September 5, 2022, with 109 pupils and 6 teachers. 4 are trained teachers, while the other 2 are currently attending the Cyril Potter College of Education. The People's Progressive Party civic government has always sounded its commitment to revising the Amerindian Act 2006 to ensure the indigenous people's rights are legally protected. As such, the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, in collaboration with the Ministry of Legal Affairs, will be establishing a committee that will be responsible for consultations before the end of this year. Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai, while meeting with residents of Kaburi, Region 7, recently made this disclosure.
The government gave us $10 million this year to ensure that the mechanism is put in place for next year's direct consultation with every village. We will train facilitators, the committee will be set up, and the secretariat will be launched this year.
The committee will be responsible for making recommendations and engaging with every single Amerindian community to solicit recommendations that will eventually make up the amended Amerindian Act. $10 million has already been earmarked by the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs in 2022 to establish the committee, the modalities of the consultation process, and training of facilitators.
We expect that secretariat or that committee to launch the consultation so that we will be able to come and meet with each village to hear what is it that you want to change in the Act. Because so far, the Act is one of the most modern acts in the history of indigenous people across the world.
This is all part of the government's commitment to have constitutional reform as it seeks to modernize the archaic legal architecture in Guyana. Minister Sukai on Saturday last told indigenous communities in Regions 7 and 8 that the PPPC government is delivering on its commitment in resuming the Amerindian land titling program. Minister Sukai said the government's effort brought on board new communities which had applied for titling, bringing the process back on track. In its manifesto, the PPPC government stated that the rights of Guyana's Amerindians and their access to opportunities remain high on its agenda. In so doing, land titling was one of the first promises that was made to the Amerindian people, and it is being fulfilled by the government. Hinterland and riverine communities are set to benefit from various developmental projects that will be driven by the government through the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs next year. Subject Minister Pauline Sukai made this disclosure recently. Construction of 212 ICT hubs will be completed in the new year, and the majority will be connected to the internet.
It's a work in progress. I believe in 2023, all the 212 facility is expected to be completed. And by then, we expect also that most of them will be connected. So we're keeping our fingers crossed as a government too that the negotiation, the search for a provider is going to happen soon.
Community support officers, CSOs, will benefit from continuous training as government aims to enhance the knowledge and skill sets of every Guyanese in preparation for the new Guyana. The ministry will be providing materials for persons interested in garment construction and also funds for the construction of facilities. More than 160 CSOs were trained in computer literacy to complement the ICT hubs. Minister Sukai said these persons must train residents in their communities. The solar power program will also be rolled out in the new year. The National Insurance Scheme, NIS, is hosting a special 3-day outreach at the Guyana Defence Force GDF Base Camp Ghana to address a range of issues affecting veterans. The outreach follows His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali's recent engagement with the Guyana Veterans Legion, where he committed to addressing pending issues faced by GDF veterans. Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, said that having examined the issues, immediate actions were taken to have most of them resolved within a timely manner. He said those persons who have been waiting years to access their contributions will do so before the end of December.
Persons who are waiting 3, 4, 5 years for their pension should be able to access their pension within a matter of weeks, and I've in fact asked the General Manager to ensure that those persons access their pension before Christmas.
In those complicated cases where the issues do not relate to employment with the Army but with other private companies, Minister Singh said that the NIS will attempt to verify those periods of employment.
Even those cases, we're not turning persons away. We have said that we will try our utmost to try to unravel, to get to the bottom of those matters, and try our best to the extent that records are ascertainable and verifiable, try our best to resolve those matters. But those will take a little bit longer to resolve.
Over 400 athletes from French Guyana and Suriname are set to battle for the championship in various sport disciplines at the Inter-Guyana Games IGG, which was launched at the National Stadium at 7 p.m. on Thursday. Sport Minister Charles Ramson said this event will serve as an opportunity for Guyanese athletes to showcase their talent in an international setting.
The exposure, that's the first thing, the exposure to international competition. So the more that you get to compete, the more you're able to check your strengths and your weaknesses and to know how you'll be able to improve. And it gives you an opportunity to rank yourself against the other folks in the region. So that's the first thing. The exposure helps you to compete against other athletes that are at the top of their game, and it also gives you the platform to start examining how you will be able to compete against other nations of a similar background.
The minister noted that this is an exciting time for Guyana since it brings with it economic benefits.
And at the same time, you also get to inspire and ignite a lot of young talent that never would have gotten an opportunity to see other countries come in and see them compete.
The IGG will see males and females competing in track and field, badminton, volleyball, tennis, table tennis, swimming, and basketball. Males will also be competing in cycling, while females in football. The event runs from Friday to Sunday and will be hosted at multiple locations in Regions 3 and 4. This brings us to the end of the Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related stories, visit our website at dpi.gov.gy or any of our social media platforms. Goodbye.